Hello, my name is Michael Kemp, and I'm here to share something that I've discovered as I've gone. I did a word study on Daniel 12 and how it potentially relates to the current events that are going on in the world right now here in 2021. So what I wanted to do was just kind of go over some of the, basically what I've done is a word study on a number of the passages specifically dealing with Daniel 12 in the Bible, and I think you'll find this really quite revealing, as I hope you do anyways, as I did. So before we delve into this, I just want to open with some prayer, as it's always a good idea to do that before we open God's Word. So here we go. Father, thank you for this opportunity to share this findings, this revelation from you. I just pray that this is what we're seeing, and that you would just reveal even more to us as we continue on through studying your word. Thank you for this blessing, and we pray this in your name. Amen. All right, so let's go here, dealing with Daniel 12. Might as well just read through the whole thing to begin with, and then we'll take this apart as we go through here. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found and written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Even they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on the other side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the end of time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,350 or 35 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. So now there's quite a bit to unpack here. First thing I wanted to cover is, now I'm using the Olive Tree software with the Strong's Numbers dictionary connected to these words. A number of these words that are sort of grayed out here, those denote that they were actually in the original TR text. A lot of the words that are in between are sort of descriptive and to helping sort of, fill in some of the gaps to make it flow a bit better. But the translators of the King James Bible did something very unique here, and that is, there's words that are in italics. Now, if you understand, some of the common grammar or even quantum grammar, anything in italics means it's not there. And that's what is going on here. The translators, they put in certain words to help maybe with the flow or possibly maybe some explanation, but those words, you can still gain exactly what's being spoken of. In fact, sometimes it's even clearer because, for instance, there's this word sacrifice here. It's in italics. It's not there in the original TR texts. Some of the newer Bible versions are based upon different manuscripts, the Vaticanus and Sinaiticus texts. And some of them even sort of expound upon that. They say, the daily burnt offerings and so on and so forth. Although there's some question as to whether or not they were actually doing that. The only place where we look up the word daily sacrifice in the scriptures, this is about the only spot that it's speaking of that. So they weren't really sacrificing animals every single day in the temple. They were doing other things anyways, which I'm not going to go into right now. But I wanted to unpack some of this stuff here because I think it's very relevant to the things that are going on here in the world right now. And, basically it's saying that, many shall run to and fro and knowledge shall be increased. Many shall run to and fro. I'm pretty sure that that's referring to, the global travel that we have right now. And knowledge shall be increased. Well, we know that the internet has been providing tons of information for us at the click of a mouse or whatever, or flip of a finger on a smart phone. But, so I wanted to start with this one bit here where they're talking about the times and a half and what's leading up to that. So we're going along. He's talking about these two men that are on either side of the river. And he heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river. And when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever. Okay, so this vision, or this person is swearing by him that liveth forever. We pretty safe to assume that that's the divine creator. And that it shall be for a time, times and a half. Now, in this case, we're dealing with the word time, which is moed or moadah. Moed is, or moled, or here it is, moed. Basically, it can be a number of things. In this context, it's not, I think it's referring to just basically the elapse of a year, 1 year time. So we've got a time, we got times, that would be indicative of 2, and then we have a half. So we have 3.5 years that we're being spoken about here. And something's going to happen after that 3.5 years, it says here, and when he shall have accomplished, so he, that they're referring to him that liveth forever. So the Creator is going to do something, that he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people. Now that is kind of disturbing in some sense, because when we look at these words, accomplish, scatter, power, and holy people, that why would God or the Creator go and, when we look at this word accomplished, for instance, it's not a very nice term. It seems to indicate that there's something that's going to be perishing, that's going to be consumed, it's going to cease, it's going to be destroyed, it's going to be expired, it's going to fail, make clean riddance of, in a way. So, and then we go into the word scatter, and that word scatter is basically saying again that it's going to be dashed into pieces, it's going to be dispersed, they're going to be pulverized in some sense, basically. So why would God go and do this to this holy people? Also, he's going to be removing their power in this sense. This power, if we look at the full definition, really basically just deals with the hand of man. It's not a spiritual power. It's not something that God is, really doing here. This is a power of man. And who are these people? Well, they call themselves holy, but it can be a number of different senses here. That can be, of course, of God, or of places, or of things, or just something set apart in some sacred way. We are pretty sure at this point that there's a seat of power on Earth right now where a number of people who are following some sort of ritualistic practice, which who happen to be in the upper seat of power on this planet right now. And essentially what I believe that this whole, the word people here, of course, denotes to, that there's persons, members of community or whatnot. So I'm pretty convinced that, because above here it says that thy people shall be delivered. Now, this holy people who are being destroyed and scattered and their power is being removed, I don't believe that God is doing that to them. I believe that this is a cult. That there's a cult that is doing some pretty horrible things, and they're just he's going to be at the end of this times and a half, which is 3.5 years. He's going to be removing their power. They're going to be scattered. They're going to be destroyed. All these things shall be finished. Next, I want to cover, Daniel says he heard, but he did not understand, and so on. So God says, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up sealed till the time of the end. And then the meaning will be unlocked. So that's what we're hoping to do here. So next we have, many shall be purified, made white, and tried. So, but the wicked shall do wickedly. So we've got two opposing forces here. We've got many who are going to be purified, made white, and tried. Don't worry, this is not referring to white supremacy. Purified. Let's look at that. Well, it looks like that they're going to be purged, they're going to be purified, they're going to experience some sort of a cleanse. They're going to be, polished, they're going to show oneself pure. There's going to be it could be... in this context, I would suspect that it has something to do with a physical sort of purification. When we look at white, that could potentially, it's still, again, it's some sort of purification process, but, it's a sort of an ethical type of event. So that means that, this is probably some sort of physical purification and some sort of spiritual or ethical purification. And then, of course, the tried means that there's going to be some sort of a process, a refining process that's going to take place to make sure that that this whole thing is sort of set in a final manner. But the wicked shall do wickedly. Well, the wicked, we know that it's pretty self-explanatory that they're guilty of crimes. They're hostile to God. They're guilty of sin against God or man. So that's something to take into consideration. And they're going to continue to do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So what are they going to understand? Well, they're going to understand this whole section right here. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away. Now, I want to stress the point here that these italicized words are not in the original text. So what we need to do at this point is we need to skip over those. We can still figure out what the meaning. In fact, it unlocks the meaning because this word sacrifice leads us into some other eschatology or some other doctrines saying that there has to be some temple rebuilt in Jerusalem and the daily sacrifice is going to be reinstated and then they're going to stop it. The Antichrist is going to stop it all and so on and so forth. But let's read it for what the actual words are there. And from the time the daily shall be taken away, the abomination that maketh desolate set up 1,290 days. Well, 1,290 days is, again, 3 years, or 3.5 years. So let's pull this one apart here, because this is so very, very important, and it's very revealing as to what's going on. And from the time, well, the word time in this sense is not the same as this times and a half. That's referring to moedah. This is referring to an event, a time, experience, an occurrence, an occasion, something like that. And the daily. Well, this word daily is quite interesting to look at. It refers to something that's, constant, that's happening. It's sure they have this word daily sacrifice. That's where how they inserted the word sacrifice. But when you look at this whole thing, continual employment, daily, ever more perpetual, continual employment again, stretch continually. What this seems to be kind of implying here is that there's this daily, continual sort of day-to-day life operation going on, the grind. So there's an event that the daily grind, the daily the normalcy shall be taken away. The word away here basically says that it's going to be something that's going to be removed, that it's going to be turned aside, departed from, removed, retracted, abolished, so on and so forth. Then we go into the word abomination. The abomination, well, this is some kind of detestable thing. It's filthy. It's connected to idolatry, which I suspect has something to do with these holy people who are cultish. That maketh desolate. Well, let's look at this word, this term here. Desolate. It's to basically grow numb, to devastate, stupefy. Astonishment, astonied, destroy, self-destruction, lay waste, lie, and so on. As we expand this meaning down, to be desolated, to be deflowered. That term is quite a descriptive term in a number of ways. One is deflowering refers to, if you look it up in the dictionaries, it refers to the removing of virginity. It also refers to being barren, being without being able to bear or children. To be desolated, be appalled. It's going to be some kind of a horror show from what it's describing here. They're going to devastate, ravage, make desolate. And then this term here, cause oneself desolation, cause oneself ruin. In other words, suicide. All right, you kind of getting where we're going here. And so this despicable, horrible thing that's going to cause all this destruction and all this suicide and all this, deflowering and such is set up. Now, this word up is very small, but I can guarantee you this meaning is very big. We're going to expand this out because we need to really look at this whole meaning here. So, it means to give, to be used with the greatest latitude of application. It's going to be widespread, it's going to be put, it's going to be made, it's going to be applied, appointed, ascribed, assigned. It's going to be cast, it's going to be caused, it's charged, it's going to be, cried, delivered, it's going to be distributed, doubtless, without fail, it's going to grant, it's to be granted, it's going to, give, it's going to be applied in many respects. To give, bestow, it's going to be permitted in some way. It's going to be ascribed, employed. It's going to be dedicated, tied to wages, selling, exchange, lend, commit, and trust. It's going to be granted, be permitted, so on and so forth. Now, if you go to a online dictionary and you look up a word that we're being exposed to quite a bit lately, and that is mandate, you'll see just about every one of these words in that description of mandate. So let's continue on here. Well, it says it would be 1,290 days, 3.5 years, as it said up and above the times and a half. So we're just getting confirmation that it's being expanded upon what was being on, because Daniel kept on asking more clarification. So let's go back and let's read this in context with what the actual words actually mean here. And from the event, the daily routine, day-to-day normalcy is taken away. This detestable, abominable action that's linked to idolatry is going to cause all this desolation and destruction and whatever is going to be mandated. And when that takes place, from that time, it's going to be, you can set the counter to 1,290 days, 3.5 years. There's also an addition here. It says, blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. So 1,335. Interestingly enough, the delta difference between the 1,290 and 1,335 is 45 days. For those, some out there in the who are taking notice of gematria and other things that are out there, that number 45 seems to be somewhat significant. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot till the end of the days. So standing in thy lot, well, that doesn't mean that you're standing in your parking lot or anything like that. It just requires, basically, it's like it was a way of determining things, like, it's like almost like flipping a coin. Pebbles were used for making decision, casting lots, or, those types of things, figuring out a way to make a decision. So stand in your decision at the end of days. So just continue to stay put. If you're convicted to not go along with these, this mandated desolation, the mandated abomination that's making desolate, that's, that is so very revealing to me in this way. I'm curious to see your thoughts on this and whatnot, but I encourage everybody to basically study this out and check it out for yourself, because for me, I think it's pretty obvious, fairly clear what's going on here. I think we are indeed living through and experiencing the fulfillment of Daniel chapter 12. Blessings, everyone. Thank you for listening, and look forward to hearing your comments. Bye for now.